Okay, I've got just 2 minutes past, so I think we're going to kick off. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Glad you all could join us. I know we're at a little bit of a different time than we normally are, so glad that you were able to join us today for our June Enhance webinar titled Bringing the Farm to the Classroom with Adopt a Cow. If you're new to our enhanced program, DGN offers almost monthly webinars that are open to the public. So DGN members, non-members, men, women, all are welcome to join. But of course, DGN members do get some special perks, like a free webinar on your birthday. So if you are not an official Dairy Girl Network member, make sure you go to dairygirlnetwork.com and click the join button. Membership is fast, free, and easy. If you're not sure if you're a member, if you do receive our emails, you are good to go. If you don't get our emails, I recommend you head over there and click that join button. But I'm Amanda Borkowski. I am the DGN staff lead for these enhanced webinars, and I'm just going to kick off today with a little bit of housekeeping, a couple of announcements, and then I will hand it over to our speakers for what I think is going to be a really fun hour together. So also to start, I really want to give a special thank you to Zoetis for providing the web hosting and recording for all of our enhanced webinars. A couple of notes about interacting today. Throughout the webinar, we really do encourage you to use the chat feature to ask questions and leave comments. You can also unmute yourself and ask your questions along the way as well. If you're worried about interrupting, there's also a raise hand feature if you're joining Zoom, either through the Zoom app on your phone or on your desktop or laptop. And if you hit that raise hand feature, then someone either from the DGN team or our speaker will really help build space for you to interact and ask your question. There will also be a dedicated time at the end for Q&A, but our speakers also would really love you to ask questions throughout the presentation as well. And then also something we really like to do here is build community. And with that, we really do like being able to see you and interact with you during these webinars. And all of our speakers appreciate it too, so they're not just talking to a screen. So if you're able and comfortable, I welcome you to turn your video on. It does not matter what you look like, where you are, in the barn, in the office. We would love to see you, and this is truly a judgment-free zone. If you do happen to notice that your connection gets a little wonky and it's hindering your experience, then definitely turn your video off to save some bandwidth. All right, before we dive into today's presentation, just a couple more DGN announcements. First off, if you happened to miss our Own Your Worth, Confidence, Clarity, and Career Growth Sharing Wisdom event the other month, don't worry, we recorded it just for you. That dynamic virtual seminar unpacked how to recognize, communicate, and truly own your value. We kicked things off with an inspiring keynote from Lindsay Warden of the Holstein Association, followed by 3 engaging breakout sessions led by industry experts and on-farm leaders. And then the event wrapped up with a thoughtful closing keynote by Liz Griffith, tying everything together into actionable strategies for navigating change and finding balance. So for just $25, you'll get access to all of the recordings, including all the breakouts, and a digital swag bag. There'll be a link in the chat to learn more, but as always, you can always head over to dairygirlnetwork.com anytime to explore that a little bit more and sign up. I also wanted to say, if you weren't aware, we do have a private Facebook group. It's called Exchange by Dairy Girl Network, and we encourage you to join. Again, we'll put a link in the chat for easy access, but if you're not a part of it and you go to join, make sure to fill out all of the questions so we can make sure that you get in. This space has over 5,500 highly engaged dairy women, and every month there are a lot of organic conversations, from sharing big wins to sharing recipes, asking questions to improve your dairy business, all sorts of fun stuff. So this group really does have it all. If you're not a part of it, I hope to see you in there soon. And finally, planning is underway for this year's World Dairy Expo. Girls and I were just talking about how fast June flew by, and before we know it, October is going to be here. End of September is going to be here. It's going to be Expo time. So this year, Dairy Girl Network is going to be hosting several events like we have been, designed to enhance your Expo experience, including our annual Connect networking event that'll be happening on the Wednesday of Expo, which is October 1st in the evening. This networking session offers a really welcoming environment with great conversations and connections, and there's always a little bit of fun to be had as well. Also, make sure to catch our Tan Bark Talk panel on the morning of Friday, October 3rd, where you can engage in insightful discussions with industry experts. And for families with little ones, we are proud once again to provide a dedicated family lounge, which is a quiet space to rest and recharge amidst the expo's lively atmosphere. There's clean and private spaces to pump or nurse, snacks, and all sorts of goodies. So make sure you are following us on social media or are an official member and get our emails to stay tuned with more details as we approach Expo. All right. Now I'm very excited to introduce a friend of mine and today's leading speaker. Brittany Snyder is a faith-driven dairy advocate with a lifelong passion for cows, rooted in her upbringing on a small family dairy farm. For the past 7 years, Brittany has thrived as the Dairy Education Programs Manager at the Dairy Excellence Foundation, where her love for teaching and dairy shines through in the transformative Discover Dairy and Adopt a Cow programs. She inspires the next generation to embrace and trust the dairy industry with her infectious enthusiasm. When not leading as a beloved cow lady, Brittany enjoys crafting, baking cookies, line dancing, and running, infusing her vibrant energy into everything she does, which I'm sure you all will see today. So with that, Brittany, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. And thank you all for joining today. I am super excited to be sharing what my passion is in life, which is discover dairy and adopt a cow. So everyone listening today is here because we all have a connection to the dairy industry. Maybe you married into the dairy farm family and now you're raising the next generation on the family farm. Or maybe you're working for our dairy farmers, helping them with loans and grants and providing veterinary services and so many other things. Or maybe you're like me, who is the daughter and sister of the hardworking dairy farmers and are just incredibly proud of the work they do. And honestly, just want to give back to the industry that gave you so much. So you pour your heart into promoting the dairy industry for as long as you can remember. This is me when I was 4 as a junior promoter. I can still taste that milk punch. It has the most amazing cinnamon flavor. It is like this delicious apple frothy milk punch. Was my favorite one to serve as a junior promoter, as a state dairy princess, and just in general serve at like all of my family functions because why not serve dairy punch at every Thanksgiving? Anyway, whatever your story is, you already know, trust, and love the dairy cow, right? You believe in the dedication and goodness that the dairy industry gives to the world because you already have a direct story. We all have a story that connects us to the dairy industry and really helps lay that foundation to the building blocks that help us trust a product that's good and wholesome every single time. But what happens when someone doesn't have that connection? How can we expect someone to trust something that they know nothing about? How can we ask the general public to support an industry when they haven't built that connection like we've been so lucky to do? We make choices based off of information we do and don't know, right? But more importantly, we make choices based off of how something makes us feel, which is why our team at the Dairy Excellence Foundation does exactly what we do. We give teachers, students, and families a real dairy connection. So that way we are here to inspire young minds to love and discover dairy through the Discover Dairy and Adopt a Cow program. So we're going to dive in a little bit first into what Discover Dairy is before we talk more about Adopt a Cow. I know that's the main headline for this, but I really just want to be able to show you what these awesome programs are, and it really helps bring our dairy farmers into the light through all of what you guys do, and kind of showcase what you do and making dairy a reality for everybody else. So first of all, what is Discover Dairy? So Discover Dairy is an educational resource that meets Common Core standards in math, reading, and science. I know that's, if you're not a teacher, that sounds like a lot of hubbub, but really that's exactly why this program works in schools, because we're not just talking about cows, but we're also connecting it to those standards that they have to teach in the class. We're focusing on K to 8th grade, where we're showing them where their food comes from and how that dairy farmer can contribute to our world. It's a completely free resource and kind of what's become this underlying goal for all of Discover Dairy is serving as a central hub of all things dairy across the country. And we've been able to do that through a lot of partnerships that I'll talk about in a minute. But we kind of just really enjoy bringing common ground to all things dairy education. So who uses Discover Dairy? We have more than 70,000 teachers and leaders who are using this program, which is impacting more than 2 million students, and that's a very conservative number. It's actually closer to 3 million at this point. We love that we're able to reach so many people, and this includes 4-H leaders and Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and public libraries and senior citizens, and all kinds of everybody from pre-K all the way up through. We've got big numbers now, but honestly, we are really hoping to reach many more students to come. So everything we offer is available at our Discover Dairy website at discoverdairy.com. All anyone has to do to access these resources is create a free login account and simply just log in. It's as simple as that. At the core of our programming, we offer 12 standalone lesson plans that cover topics like animal care, dairy in the community, dairy in the economy, milk safety, dairy nutrition, and then each lesson plan has a career spotlight activity tied to that lesson, really elevating those career opportunities in the dairy supply chain. And then all of those lesson plans come with answer keys and videos and virtual resources, Kahoots and Quizlets, ebooks, all those things that teachers are looking for in the class. And of course, those are great resources for 4-H groups and FFA groups and small groups as well, and homeschools. All those, every single group can really benefit from all these resources. In addition to those 12 kind of core lesson plans that are there at any time for people to use, we also have some additional pieces that are called our classroom enrichment pieces. These resources come from our checkoff partners across the country as we strive to really share any and all resources we can on our site to create this one-stop shop of all things dairy. We really believe in trying to unite our voice and just share all those good things that are already out there. We really do believe that it's a much better use of everyone's time and resources to simply just share than to reinvent the wheel. Everyone's doing amazing things, and we want to be that one voice and just put it all out there for everybody. So this is just a quick preview of what that page looks like. I encourage you to go to discoverdairy.com and click on the classroom enrichment section. We hope we kind of provide a space where you can see all the virtual farm tours happening across the country from all the different checkoff programs. We've got all the connections to all the checkoffs leading right to their enrichment pages for classes. We have a library of books that teachers can click on. You could click on them if you're looking for a good book to read if you want to go into the classroom. I'm constantly adding more books to this list, and this is kind of a plug for anyone on here. If you know someone that wrote a really great dairy book that's maybe dairy farmer written, or you've written a book and you want that book included on our website, please just reach out to me. There is no red tape. It is me who's putting it on the website. So just pass that information over. We would love to get it on that website for others to enjoy and see your book, and maybe even buy it on Amazon or something. And it flew through some things there for you, but there's also some games that people can access on here, again, that have been created by other people, but they're on our website. And then lots of different downloaded things that are their worksheets or posters or all kinds of things to enhance that classroom. Or maybe if you have a space at your farm that you want to download a poster and print it, that kind of thing. If you have tours, this is a great spot to access those types of resources. All right, and then I know I'm flying through this, but one other resource that we have besides Adopt a Cow is Curious Clover. Curious Clover is something that's brand new on our website, and this is a book that we wrote in the last year. There's an ebook version completely free in English and Spanish on our website. There's all kinds of activities. It really highlights that journey, that experience of how the milk gets from the farm to you in the grocery store. People can order the book in person or for a print copy print version as well. This is just kind of a sample of what that book looks like. It's flipping through really quick here for you. But like I said, people can access this ebook online. You're welcome to share this resource, or anyone can buy the book from our website. I don't know why I skipped Oh, there we go. So after people read Curious Clover, kind of the catch piece to this is we're taking that next step and taking Clover and the experience into the classroom and into the into the world. So they can color their own version of Clover, cut her out, take her with them on vacations, when they go to the park, all those kinds of things. We challenge them to take pictures of themselves with Clover and then post them on social media. Here's just a few that have come through in the last year. They take them sledding, they've taken them on vacation, they took them to their trip to to their state capital, all kinds of things. So this is just a fun interactive thing that we also provide for classes, and you'd be welcome to share it as a farmer on your resource, to your community as well. Okay, so I went through that very quickly. I know that was a lot of resources, but I really wanted to give us plenty of time to focus on the whole reason we're here today, which is the Adopt a Cow program. This program has really become our flagship program for our consumer education outreach since COVID. So to give you a little bit of background, before our world changed 5 years ago, we only had about 900 classes in this program from a few states, but mostly Pennsylvania. That's where I'm based out of, and that's where our foundation is based out of. But in September of 2022, teachers were honestly just on the hunt for something fun, something engaging. We happened to put one social media post out there that just said, hey, we're virtual friendly and you can adopt a calf. I kid you not, in hours, we went from 1,000 classes to 70,000 classes. My email blew up because at that point it was still individual emails to sign up. It was absolutely insane. It was a ride of a lifetime for our team, good, bad. It was a lot of learning, right, that year. But since then, so much has changed about our program, really elevating this premium experience where the farm comes to the classroom and allows students to create a real, meaningful connection to the dairy industry through something as simple and as cute as an adorable calf. And of course, the best part is it's free. We're really thankful for the guidance and support of some of the awesome partners and farmers and teachers who have been on this journey with us over the last 5 years as we continue to mold what this Adopt a Cow year-long program looks like and turning it truly into a one-of-a-kind experience. So I'm going to dive into some details on what this Adopt a Cow program is and what can be your role as a member of the dairy industry. So first, why adopt a cow? What about it draws people in and why should you know about it and maybe help possibly promote it? So first of all, this connects classrooms with real dairy farms and real calves. These are just a few pictures of some of the farms that we connect with that we use as host farms in this program. These are real people. Two of them will be joining us for a panel in just a couple minutes here. And then we also work with some colleges as the main host farm, which is a great connection of like, hey, you can pursue a career in this immediately, and make that school connection. We work with individual people from farms. We work with families. Every story is a little bit different, and that's the cool part. We're telling these people's story, whether it's a small 80 cow dairy or a 20,000 cow dairy from Arizona. Really, the point is this is establishing a true connection to the dairy industry and giving them this sense of ownership and pride. And it's just something that it's hard to grasp until you get call after call and email after email from teachers saying, my kids think this calf is in my backyard. Like they think it's here. They think I can just bring it in, right? It's literally used as like to have good behavior in class and like, oh, Beta's watching and like, make sure you're having, answering questions correctly and we're behaving during recess and all that sort of thing. It creates a connection beyond just the industry, but they include it and submerge it into everything they do. And it really drives all ages towards an excitement to learn and dive deeper. And then also taking this excitement into the home and into the families. They convince their parents to download the app and follow the calf and vote during the voting experience. I was just in Minnesota at our national conference, and I had a high school teacher come up to me and say her 11th and 12th graders pooled money together to print a 6-foot banner of their calf to hang in their classroom. And she's like, they love this calf. And it's funny because you would think elementary and middle school would be the ones to click to this most, but there are 11 and 12th graders who are absolutely loving it. So it's neat to see every single age just really hold on to this connection to the calf. And of course, we do this because we believe in the dairy industry. Our mission at the foundation is to inspire the next generation of the dairy industry. You have farms to run. You've got cows to care for, you've got families to love. We take this job very seriously in making sure that we share your stories in the best light possible. So connecting people to you and establishing that trust is so that way one day when these kids have the purchasing power to choose what they want in the grocery store, they can remember their host farm and their adopted calf. They can remember how good dairy is for them and for the community and for our world and choose that real dairy product for their health and family's well-being. I mean, well, while this program may impact them right now, our vision isn't just set on right now. Our vision is set to that longer term goal where I really just want people to fall in love with dairy as much as we do. And that's the ultimate goal of just creating other fellow dairy lovers. So to continue into it a little bit more, at the nitty-gritty of what is Adopt a Cow and what's included in it. So this is kind of a highlight of everything, and then I've got some slides that show what the different things are. At the core of it, it follows the school year, October to May. We share photos and information about the calf 7 times at birth, and then each month after that until they're about 6, 7 months old. Everything is available virtually for these classes or for these small groups or homeschool groups through our portal or our app. They get lesson plans. Again, that's the important piece to make sure that they're actually tying to the pieces that they need to cover in school. We provide other resources for them. They could honestly do 5 hours a week of content. We share so much of dairy in their class, or they can do 5 minutes a month. It's very fluent and easy to use in their classroom. We end there with a live chat, which is so much fun and really gives everyone a chance to step onto the farm virtually through YouTube, where I get to hop on with my amazing host farmer friends, and their calves on the other end. I'm hosting on my end, and we welcome everyone to answer questions or type questions into the chat, and we answer them live for a half hour. People love sending messages, e-messages, and handwritten letters. I'm sure that our host farmers will share, they've gotten hundreds and hundreds of handwritten letters and things sent to them. I know my Arizona farmer had hats sent to her because her daughter was fighting leukemia, and so they empathize with that. And like this class did a hat drive. I mean, these classes like connect for real with these farms and with these calves. And then, of course, there are so many kind of ancillary pieces to this program. We do a voting experience for America's Favorite Calf. We do a Moo Cow Dance Challenge, thanks to Wisconsin, who created that Moo Cow Dance song. We do a drawing and coloring contest and so much more. So just to kind of highlight what those things look like, this is an example of what one of the updates look like. This is a slide of 12 slides. This is our New York farm as an example. All the farmers send me their photos, and then we just kind of make it look pretty into some presentations. But we're ultimately just telling the farmer's story in kind of making that connection with the classes. So this is an example of what one of the updates would look like. We also not only tell the story of the calf from birth until 8 months old or so, we also tell the story of the dam, right? We're talking about cow comfort. There's research out there that specifically says people believe in the dairy farmer if they believe that they're caring for their cow, and that ultimately then means that they're good stewards of their land and they're high sustainability practices, and it all stems from, are they even caring for their cows? So it sounds simple to us because you guys do this every day to care for your cows on a farm, but people just don't get it. They don't understand this. And so we just go down to the basics, talk about what these cows need on a daily basis, and tell their story. We also do something fun. We do a growth chart. We kind of drop in the different calf pictures. This ends up showing up on hundreds of bulletin boards that they send pictures of to me. They'll replace it every time with the new one and add the new photos. So this is just a fun thing that we add every year. This is kind of what it looks like for people to access if they're on the app. You could even download it if you wanted to. You could download the app, Discover Dairy app. If you're looking for a calf to follow, I can gladly give you a code. Veda is one of them, and that's one of Farmer Natalie's calves. You could easily see exactly what I'm pulling up here right now. You can see all of the host farm information, the calf birth information. You can see every single update. It's all up from this past year, but then in the next year, it'll just slowly show up as the calf gets older. We have some printable graphics. This is just a fun piece. we're all about how can we keep them engaged all year long? How can we make this easier for the teacher to keep them engaged every week, every month? So we've kind of just created a plethora of different graphics that these teachers can print. We encourage them to gift them to their kids with a dairy treat. So those, the holiday ones were often given with like milk and cookies. And I saw a lot of people sending out the Valentine's one with string cheese, right? Encouraging that dairy promotion and consumption while also just connecting it to their cute calf. As I mentioned, there's lesson plans attached, which that's the important part for the teachers. So I'll share about a little bit later how maybe you could potentially help support it if you want. This is the part that we're going to want to highlight to those teachers, saying it all ties back to Common Core standards and next generation science standards. And they're going to like that. They're going to like that it's from pre-K all the way to high school. I mentioned we do live chats. These are just 2 classes out of thousands that join these live chats. We had some of the highest participation this year for the live chats. It's a half hour of very captivating audience, and the host farmers do a great job sharing their experience. We did a voting experience this year. They got so involved. This is such a real-time social economics connection. A lot of high school and middle school students got really engaged. The top one over here, this was literally a class who created an entire promotion, a campaign, and then streamed it on the video screen of the entire school to get the whole school to vote for Mutilda. They created voting booths. They downloaded the sticker and put the sticker on everybody that they voted that day. I mean, it was an awesome experience. We've had cafeterias do full like local food days and making sure they're including dairy that day when they announce their calf. We have some fundraiser things that they can do, and they can get a stuffed cow and an ear tag. They can do activities like build a barn for your calf. And one of the most prized pieces is they get a welcome packet. So there is one physical piece of this where we mail out a welcome packet of an adoption certificate and a printed picture of the calf. So obviously you can tell by their faces, they're very excited to get that mail and excited to share that with their class. I know that was a lot, and I know this slide is a lot to kind of take into, but I just want to highlight to kind of wrap up what this program really is. These are just a few teachers that shared their testimony with us of hundreds. I would love to share more stories, or you can check out our website and go to our Dairy Digest, and our communications manager has done a great job writing a bunch of different stories from teachers. But this is why we do this program, right? This is why your dollars as a farmer, because we're working with checkoff, is also supporting this because it's making a real impact, right? This one is 15 minutes from New York City, and this was a wonderful experience. They had no idea. They didn't know any of this information about dairy farms and the dairy industry. They'd never even really seen a cow. So participating in this gave them a first-time experience. It even drove them to write an article about it and submit it in their newspaper. And these kids just got so excited about something they had never seen before. This group, they were learning something very practical and real about how to collect data and make graphs and making that real-time connection. And then this is probably the coolest part that we never expected to happen, but has been happening. We'll have class sign up, but then the whole school gets involved and gets excited. Like the class will put the poster on their hallway, and it'll just be for the class what the teacher thinks. And then all of a sudden she'll have 3rd, 4th, 5th grade all coming into her hallway, checking out this calf. And eventually the whole building is following along with this one calf and this one farmer. Just super excited about this experience and loving the genuine connection that we're able to provide through this program for free. That's right. That's the best part. These teachers can experience this for free with their kids. So to kind of wrap up a little bit here, I think I wanted to just take a second on we really have some big goals of this program. Right now, we're a little over 1.7 million students, which is still awesome, but we've got big goals. So I would love to hit 2 million this year and maybe even double that in like a year or two. And we really can't do that alone, and don't want to do that alone, right? We're here with 14 other partners. We're here with tons of private donors. And by no means am I asking anyone to give money, but you guys are the real voice behind this, and that is such a value that I would love to elevate to everybody. So if you're interested at all, and if any of this kind of sparked some interest and you'd love to see this in your schools near you, these are just kind of some ways that you can help make that happen. You can gladly just distribute these resources to your local district. Maybe shoot an email over to your teacher of your kids. Maybe you're connected with the administration somehow. If I believe you're going to get a PDF version of this presentation shared with you, that link should work for you to access our full marketing kit. There's one-pagers in there and all kinds of good stuff that you can have access to share. We also have teacher packets that if you're like, hey, I'm actually going in and doing a presentation, or I'm on the board and I want to, share this resource, I'll send you teacher packets for free, absolutely, and you can drop them off at your local schools, just talking about Discover Dairy and Adopt a Cow. Of course, the simplest, just sharing our posts on social media. Registration is open right now for Adopt a Cow until September 15th. So you can simply just share our posts anytime you see them. And then as kind of maybe a benefit for you for sure, this is a very, very captive audience. And you can ask our host farms anytime we share something that they're hosting or they're doing, or our partners have asked us to share their virtual tours. The minute we share it, it explodes. And these kids and these teachers are just so excited and they want to get involved. So we love sharing other people's resources. If you on your farm have a book that you wrote, or you do a boot camp, or you offer farm tours and you want to make that more public, I would love to share those resources to our community of Adopt a Cow teachers. So by all means, please feel free to share that information to us. We'll weave it into our Sunday fun days throughout the year in whatever time frame it makes sense to share it. We would love to put you in front of our audience. Just beware, they are very attentive and you will get a reaction and you will get a response. So it might be more than you're bargaining for, but if you're looking to maybe elevate something on your farm and try something new in that consumer end of things, I would love to help you make that happen. And then, of course, just potentially even consider being a host farm, or just simply offering local farm tours and say, hey, we're not necessarily going to be a host farm, but if you ever have anyone in the area that wants to tour, we're open to hosting people for tours. Being a host farm is certainly a fun experience, but you don't have to take my word for it. We are actually going to switch over to our two panelists, who are both host farmers from the last couple of years, so you can hear firsthand their experience, and just how they've been some foundational host farmers for the last 4+ years, and just kind of getting their feel for the whole experience. So I realize I don't have your bios in front of me. I apologize. So Amanda, I will let you share their bios. But we have Katelin Benkoski with us, from Big Sandy Creek Dairy. She's been in the program 5+ years, been one of our foundational ones. And then also Natalie Berning from Berning Acres in Illinois. Both of you have just been such a blessing to this program. You both offer amazing experiences to our classes outside of this program and kind of in conjunction with this program. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into some questions, but I will stop sharing my screen here so we can bring them up as well. And Amanda, I'll let you share a bio if you have any more to share.
Yeah, we just have some short bios for the gals, and then I'm sure they're going to dive in a little bit more. So Brittany, if you want, I can start with Katelin.
Yeah.
So Katelin Benkoski is a credit analyst for AgSouth Farm Credit, ACA, in Madison, Georgia. Her family also owns and operates a dairy farm where they host groups for agritourism and are a host farm for the Adopt a Cow program. Katelin is involved with the 4-H and FFA, where she supports and coaches youth in dairy-related areas.
Alexa, play brown noise sleep sounds.
Oh, hang on one second. Let me just make sure we're all muted. Okay. There we go. And then Natalie Berning grew up in Dubuque, Iowa, and until meeting her husband, she had very little farm experiences. Today, with her husband and 5 children, they own and operate Berning Acres, a 500-cow dairy farm outside of Galena, Illinois. And over the last 4 years, Natalie has launched their farm into agritourism as well. And Berning Acres welcomed well over 1,500 guests to their farm in 2024.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you both. And I just realized now that I'm no longer sharing my screen, I see Laura Lee Schultz is on here too, and you were a past host farmer as well years ago. So that's pretty cool. Thanks for hopping on. I'm finally getting to see everybody. So Katelin and Natalie, we're gonna just kind of kick it off. Katelin, we'll start with you just because you're first on my screen here. I'm curious, whatever led you guys to say yes to begin with. Maybe some of the ladies and gentlemen on the call here today are like, that sounds like a lot that you do as a host farm. So whatever kind of gave you that inkling to want to say yes to this, to be a host farmer, and then why did you continue saying yes for so many years?
Yeah, so I guess we started originally in 2020, I believe, as a host
Mhm.
farm. We've done agritourism on our farm for several years, done different things. And so we actually had talked about it a little bit ourselves. We wish there was a way for people to opt to go in their classroom. And then the Dairy Alliance approached us and said, hey, we've got this program going on, and we'd really like y'all to be a part of it because you do like to advocate and have this extra presence. And so we said yes. We didn't really know what we were saying yes to in the beginning. When they first approached us, they said they would need 4 cabs, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, 4 cabs, 4 classrooms." No, it ended up being like 4,000 classrooms the first year, because I think we were a host farm for Georgia and Florida that year, and so, it took on a lot, and we were really impressed with the program, and so we've stuck with it. The impacts have been really amazing.
Cool. Thank you, Katelin. And how about you, Natalie? What's your, what led you to saying yes?
Yeah, so Kendra from Midwest Dairy approached us. I think we had just like launched our agritourism, which was our kids farm camp, and offering tours at our farm just a few days out of the week. So I think she was like, oh, Natalie, and at that time our CAF manager was really pro like the agritourism and everything too. So she asked us to be a part of it, and I'm a former teacher myself, and I've learned a lot in the last 5 years, just being on farm more. But I honestly, to begin with, I was like, sure, we'll do this. Like, yeah, it sounds like fun, but like, do teachers sign up for it? Because like they're so busy, like teachers are so busy these days. And I was blown away the first year that, like Katelin said, thousands of classrooms and the participation level in it was incredible. So yeah, it's been fun to just be a part of it for the last 4 years now, and just get to know the program more and more, and like have a little more fun with it every year.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalie. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to have both of you, and thank you for growing with us and even hanging in there with during the growing pains, because you both have been there when we were just trying to figure it all out. So thank you for just being amazing host farmers through all of that. So I'm going to jump into kind of that next question for us. You guys have kind of started touching on just that impact and maybe some surprising things, but I'm curious, what would you say your favorite part of the program has been? And we'll start with you, Natalie, or maybe the most fun part of this whole experience.
Gosh, there's a lot of fun pieces. You mentioned in your presentation, Brittany, the fan mail. Like that was really fun the first year to start getting things to like Ruby and Veda were our names of our adopted calves this year. So we have real packages that come in the mail addressed to Ruby or Veda. And also Farmer Natalie, which I really hadn't adopted the name or the like title of farmer yet, but it I've embraced it now, and I am Farmer Natalie, and it's so cool. Other really cool things is we have people come and visit the farm because of the Adopt a Cow program. And I had a little girl named Charlotte come to farm camp this year, and she was so excited to meet her little Adopt a Calf. And she came from 3 hours away, arranged with her godparents who live in Galena, and just the entire connection that was made because of the adoptive cow program, and spending 2 days. And now she says she's coming to farm camp every year, which she probably will because that's what the kids do. Other cool experiences, like I just learned this year, there's so many resources like you said, And like, I can't even keep up with the email like that, because we get the emails that the teachers get too, and I can't keep up with all of the resources. So I just learned this year about the the app, and that the parents download the app too, and they know all about the calf. So that was really cool. That's a really cool piece of it as well. That an aha moment this year was that we're not just like, it's getting already to like the consumers right now, the parents, like, had several
Yeah.
families come visit the farm from hours away, make day trips. Like, we have teachers drive for our nights at the farm 3+ hours and drive home the same night. I'm like, you should really stay in Galena, but like, they're coming just to meet their adopted cat.
That's
I hope I
amazing.
answered your question.
Yes, you did. Yep, your favorite part, which sounds like a lot, but yeah. Yeah, no, that's I love to hear it. The distance travel thing is also very surprising to me too. And I'm very sure, Katelin, you've experienced that as well as you guys have been hosting. So I'll let you answer that question next. But you know, what's been your favorite part, or maybe the most fun for you and your family? Because I know your whole family gets involved as well.
Yeah, so it's been an amazing program overall. Over the 5 years, I'm sure Natalie's the same. We've had lots of good impressions and lots of different experiences. I think one of my favorite experiences is usually dealing with the special needs kids. So locally, I've gotten to take some of the adopted cows to our local schools. I can't obviously go to all the schools. And so it's funny to see when kids, they tell you are nonverbal or autistic, and they see the cow and they're like, cow, or they say Raindrop's name or whatever it may be. And then this year we had a kid come from about 4 hours away who was in a wheelchair, and Baby Bell tried to get in his wheelchair with him, and he thought it was the greatest thing he had ever seen. So making that impact for all people, not just students, teachers, it's a great way for people to get involved of all backgrounds and all levels. And so it's really been impactful in that way. We get a lot of people who, since we do tours, they want to come see their cow when they come. And the cows by the end of it are like, is this the end yet? Like, because we let every kid take a picture with the cow, we let every kid pet the cow. And so by the end of tour season, we have some seriously broke cows. They are love bugs for sure. But overall, it's a great program, a lot of different wonderful experiences.
Awesome. Thank you both for sharing. I know I don't know, so something about that distance and that commitment. I know we've hosted stuff on our Pennsylvania farm here. We had someone where it's in Pennsylvania, but people from Jersey, people from Delaware, people from Maryland are all traveling just to see their calf for a day, and even if it's only a couple minutes. So it's neat. I mentioned it early on, but this calf becomes theirs in their mind, even though they don't have to care for it, they don't have to feed it water, all the things. I think that's why teachers love it, right? I've had some teachers kind of ask me like, wait, this calf isn't actually mine, right? like wait, this is virtual. Yes, the whole thing is virtual. No real responsibility. So it's just like this perfect pairing that creates this love and passion without the responsibility. And our farmers still do an amazing job doing what you guys do best, which is care for these animals. So kind of moving on to our next question, and maybe you guys have shared it a little bit, but has there been anything that's just surprised you most about being a host farmer, or something you just never expected, after you kind of said yes, or over the years, just, something unique or different you never really saw coming? And it can be either one of you. Go ahead, Natalie.
Well, I just brought this little book here. Shoot, my background is, you can't see it. It's a hardcover book that was sent in the mail. And darn it, maybe. Anyways, I think you get the idea, right? And there are, they sent this to us, and it's all stories the kids wrote about Ruby and where she goes. It's Ruby's great escape. So she, Farmer Natalie leaves the gate open, and then where does Ruby go? She goes to my daughter was very excited when Ruby went to Starbucks. Disney World, all kinds of places. So it's the teachers just, the most surprising part, I guess, is like how much the teachers get into it and make it, it's the cool thing is it's like real life. Like, cause I was a teacher, I still kind of am a teacher, but you know, the real life application that they can write a real person, and I think is just incredible. And it was surprising to me how deep the teachers go with the program.
Yeah, that is so true. These teachers spend so much time above and beyond creating amazing, presentations and things on their walls at school. Some of the stories I've heard some teacher, this is a random one, but we even have like bus drivers do this, and they created a decal for their bus and like adopted it for their bus experience. There's just so many kind of just, dive in intricate things. Katelin, did you have anything to add about maybe something that's been surprising to you, or anything you never expected to happen before?
I think I'm with Natalie, the commitment that these teachers really put into this program and how many really get involved and really want to come see that cow. I think one time, this is kind of funny, we do tours, we let people come meet their cow. We had people show up from like 3 hours away in charter buses on a field trip to, like, my dad was like, we are on a little back road. Where are all these charter buses doing? And he's like, oh, they're here to meet, Gouda or Babyville or whoever it was. And we were like, well, this is a big deal. Like, these people, it becomes their world. I mean, it's our world, it's our everyday, and we take it for granted sometimes, but it becomes a huge thing for them. And it's a great learning experience.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Something just maybe a little fun and a side thing here. I know during live chats or maybe in the letters that you've received, sometimes kids and teachers can ask some pretty interesting questions. And I know there's some of them that even throw me for a loop sometimes during live chats. I was just curious, what's maybe the most interesting question you've ever been asked? Has anything been like way off the cuff and it took you by surprise, or just from that engagement from teachers and students?
I had to call my husband because I knew that there was a really funny question that was asked one time, but I couldn't remember what it was, which I called Matt and he remembered. I'm like, what was that really funny question? I try to keep up with all the fan mail. It's impossible to keep up with all of it, but like one Christmas, I think we were trying to like send Christmas cards, and write a cute little letter, whatever. And so I think it was at this time though, the one student asked, Farmer Natalie, do you just walk through poop all day long?
Oh man.
The reason why it was so funny too is because like you kind of shared, like, I did not grow up on a farm. I really don't do a lot of hands-on interaction. So I like felt like, I'm like, no, but my farmer Matt does. Usually a lot of times the questions they're really curious about, does Veda have a brother or a sister, or tons of cute questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything from you, Katelin? I think sometimes on live chats with you, once or twice, you've been asked like some deep questions, like anatomy questions. Like, thank goodness you know those things, but like anything you wanted to share specifically?
You just never know, honestly. It's like you never know what these kids are thinking, what the wheels are turning, what the teachers have talked about, what you're going to get asked. We've been asked anything from like, what are ant hills on the farm, to where's the cow's coccyx bone, to, how many teeth does she have? Does she eat hamburgers? Like, what's her favorite nap time snack? Like, the things that are big in their lives, they want to know if it's big in their cow's life. Do they sleep on the couch? Anything that a kid can think of or put together or apply to themselves, they want to apply to their cow, which is crazy to think. Like, we know cows are a living creature, they live in the pasture, in the barns, but these kids are like, they sit at the dinner table. So, it's so funny to see some of those things. And it keeps it interesting and entertaining for us too, because it's like, we didn't think about that either, so the questions are interesting for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Keeps things lively. You never know. And that's part of the live chat, right? Like I always tell all of host farms, I was like, we take it live. I do try to preemptively read through some of them as we go, but we'll take whatever we get. So sometimes it's off the cuff, but that's the whole point, right? These kids can feel like they're being heard. We call them out, we call their actual classes out. And that gets people so excited. I just had a teacher while I was in Minnesota tell me like, oh my gosh, you're Brittany. You're the one that hosted us. You called our classroom out. You made my kids so excited when you said Troy Elementary, and they were just screaming for the next 10 minutes. And they just love that personal, intimate experience with this program, which I love that we're able to do that while also reaching the masses. And that's kind of the cool balance of this whole program. To wrap up, I just wanted to ask maybe, how do you think this program is changing perspectives about the dairy industry? Is there anything that you've noticed in the kids from the beginning to the end, or maybe just some of your personal thoughts on what do you think this program is doing for the dairy industry?
I mean, I'll jump in there. So I think this has been a great experience for the dairy industry. It's a great way to promote dairy. Like you said, it goes home with the kids. It goes to their parents who are the grocery buyers. It gets kids a hands-on connection with a real live animal. I think one of the big things for us is people see that we're not just factory farmers. We're not these evil people. We're real people too. We have families. Our family helps take care of the calves on the farm. Like I went somewhere one day to a running club and I was wearing sunglasses and a hat, and like somebody asked me, and my friend that was there, she was like, "How's Raindrop?" And this other lady goes, "Like, you own Raindrop?" Like they don't think you get out in the real world either. They think, like a teacher at school, like, oh, Miss whoever should not be in Walmart. But like they really get to see us in the real world, that we're not just farmers, we're educated people. We really care about our animals. We want the best for our neighbors in the dairy industry. We want the best for all the farmers. We want the best as a product for that food that goes on their table. I just think this has been a positive impact for us as farmers, but also a positive impact for the industry as a whole. And especially in these kids' lives, they get something that, some kids don't have a lot to look forward to at home, but they get to look forward to going to see Clover or Marble or whoever at school and seeing that update. And it keeps kids going, I think, that especially come from hard backgrounds. And so there's so many different impacts and takeaways from this program. You can't really sum it up in a 1-hour webinar. But I think it's an amazing program, and I hope it continues for a long time.
Awesome. Thank you, Katelin. Any thoughts from you, Natalie?
Yeah, like Katelin said, just like even the cute little things and the positive impact, for the kids, but then like you were kind of getting at in your presentation, Brittany, the bigger impact too, and the really deeper impact that we are meeting these kids at such a young age, when they're sponges. And I didn't know that there was I wasn't that aware that there was a negative impression of agriculture and farming before this. But, the more you involve yourself in the industry, the more you learn. And so I just think, like your goals to go bigger and to reach more students is it's kind of giving me goosebumps right now. And I got tears in my eyes when you were talking about it. Because yeah, if we meet these kids right now at this such an impressionable age, they're not, they have the facts. They've seen it, they've experienced it firsthand. They have a real, like you said, trusted connection. Like they're not going to have that. That's not going to happen.
Right.
They're not going to be influenced by some fear mongering person on the internet. We're giving them the facts in a really fun, cute way at a young age.
Yeah, agreed. The goosebumps happen for me quite often. I get it, Natalie, especially whenever I hear I get an email of a teacher just gushing with love and appreciation. They'll say, my kids can't agree on anything. And then as soon as we adopted a calf, it gave them common ground. Kids that don't have homes, kids that don't have good experiences with siblings, and they just don't understand how to even talk to each other. They all love this cow and have created unity in their class. And there have been teachers that have just been outpouring of thank you. And who would have thought, like, I would have never imagined a cute calf being able to do that, but it's going so much further beyond than just teaching them about dairy. It's teaching common decency. It's making you guys famous. You guys are, like you said, Farmer Natalie, Farmer Katelin, but you know, it's just the fun things of that. Things you never expect, but that real connection it's real. It happens. It's pretty cool. So thank you to both of you for joining us today and kind of sharing your testimony and your experience. We could not do this. The foundation could not do what we're doing without the 34 farms across the country that are willing to share their story and let us virtually step into their farm and hold the gates wide open. Literally, we are putting everything on display. So thank you to all of the farms that do this. And Amanda, I'll pass it over to you for anything else. And if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, we do have just a couple of minutes. So if anybody joining us live today does have any questions for Brittany on the program as a whole, or for Farmer Katelin or Farmer Natalie on their experience as host farmers, now is a great time. You can unmute yourself or use the chat. So I'll just give a couple of seconds to see if anybody has any questions.
That's good.
It's always the hardest to break the ice, right?
Right. I don't bite too much. I'll answer anything.
Any questions for any of these gals?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you so much for sharing all this information and your experiences. I think this is wonderful. I have a daughter that's in the Dairy Princess program, and it's so cool to know that we can like take teacher packs to the schools and like not have to reinvent the wheel with like, how do we teach this? How do we help this? What do we have the Dairy Princess talk about? Like, you guys already have it all done for us. So yay. Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Absolutely. Side note on the Dairy Princess stuff, we work very closely with our Pennsylvania Dairy Promotion team just because that's who's with us. But I would absolutely love to work with any promotion team across the country. The Discover Dairy lesson plans have so many easy in-classroom activities that are just easy to pull out and use in your promotions and don't have to recreate the wheel, like you said. I'm happy to always send bookmarks to promoters, the packets, so they can leave it with teachers, printed sheets of the worksheets. So yeah, Charlotte, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to work with your promotion team and provide more resources.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for the comment, Charlotte. And then there is another question in the chat asking what social channels can we share and any way we can help promote?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are just at Discover Dairy on Facebook, Instagram, and we're on TikTok too. And then yes, we've got Big Sandy Creek Dairy and Berning Acres are both on social, and honestly, they both do a great job at reposting things about the program and then also sharing things all year long. I think we have the sign up now post pinned at the top of our page, so it should be really easy to find. If you're on TikTok, if you are a social influencer at any, or of any sense on any of them, feel free to tag us in something or just say, hey, this program's coming out. We'd love the shout out, or even cross collaboration on something. We're open to it, but we're on all the platforms. So we're technically on Twitter, but not really. So
Awesome. Well, with that, I think that brings us to time. So Brittany, if you don't mind sharing that last slide again real quick. If anybody does, if you think of a question later today, when you get the recording next week, I will have contact info for all three of these gals, so you can reach out individually as well if something pops into your brain afterwards. But otherwise, want to say thank you, ladies, for a great presentation. You did a great job, Brittany, Katelin, Natalie. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, thank you to Zoetis for providing the web hosting and recording for all of our enhanced webinars. You'll get this recording next week after we process it, and as promised, also that contact info. So thank you all again for joining, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.